Okay, we are in Christology class. This is October 1st. Congratulations. We are into the blessed month, my favorite month of the year here in the Midwest. October 1st, year of our Lord 2025. We are in the book of Genesis, Christology class here at Zion Evangelical Lutheran Church. And we are looking at Genesis chapter 28. We kind of opened last week after our summer break with a brief overcap of what we've done in chapters 1 through 27 in the last 2 years. Now we're looking at chapter 28. We're firmly now into the life of the patriarch Jacob, who God will give a new name, just like he did to his grandfather Abraham, which we'll read about here in a little bit. So we gave a quick primer of the first 27 chapters, and then we briefly got into Genesis chapter 28, reminding us about that he has an older brother named Esau, and yet, even though in the ancient world the elder brother would have normally been the heir, yet the Lord prophesied that the older would serve the younger. Even though they're twins, remember he's clutching at his heel even as they're being born. Esau comes out first, poor mom, and then comes the second boy, Jacob, and there's this tension between the two of them, which ultimately would result in extreme pain, because that is one of the things that happens in life. We make choices. Jacob made choices, and there were consequences for his choices. And now he is alone. He is isolated. He's likely in despair because he has had to leave behind his mother, his father, his brother, his family, all that he's ever known. And now he's going to some place he's never been in a part of ancient Syria called Padan Aram, to some extended family he's never met before. But the journey is uncertain. And it's not like we were talking about the missionaries that come into town and we have a wonderful place for them to stay here later in the mid-October. No, imagine you're traveling through the wilderness and you have a rock for a pillow. And there's things that go creep and crawl in the night, and there's literally in the ancient world lions and tigers and bears. Oh my, right? So things are quite uncertain, and now he's separated from his loved ones. So imagine that kind of isolation. Not fun, all right? So here in chapter 28, he's about ready to have his dream, as we promised at the end of last week's part 1 section, which was this mysterious dream. So beginning in verse 10, can someone read 10 through 17?
I will. Jacob left Beersheba and went toward Haran. And he came to a certain place and stayed there that night because the sun had set. Taking one of the stones of the place, he put it under his head and laid down in that place to sleep. And he dreamed, and behold, there was a ladder set up on the earth, and the top of it reached to heaven. And behold, the angels of God were ascending and descending on it. And behold, the Lord stood above it and said, I am the Lord, the God of Abraham, your father, and the God of Isaac. The land on which you lie I will give to you and to your offspring. Your offspring shall be like the dust of the earth, and you shall spread abroad to the west and to the east and to the north and to the south. And in you and your offspring shall all the families of the earth be blessed. Behold, I am with you and will keep you wherever you go and will bring you back to this land, for I will not leave you until I have done what I have promised you. Then Jacob awoke from his sleep and said, surely the Lord is in this place, and I did not know it. And he was afraid and said, how awesome is this place? This is none other than the house of God, and this is the gate of heaven.
Awesome. All right. So now, just like his father and his father's father before him, the second person of the Trinity reveals himself directly to the patriarch, right? Just as the Lord foretold in Genesis chapter 25, 3 chapters earlier, that in Rebekah's womb there were 2 nations, and the Lord would choose one of the 2 nations to carry the zerah, the seed, the offspring, and we're going to talk about offspring singular versus offsprings plural here in a moment, right? But before we get there, let us consider some geography, your favorite subject. I used to love this subject, right? Oh, good. I used to play Risk when I was a young boy and conquering the world by moving little pieces of plastic on a piece of cardboard, right? That was the game. All right, so geography. Lo and behold, you get to see my fabulous artwork once again. Congratulations. All right. So if this blue for water is the Mediterranean Sea, right? Here's the waves, right? Yes, beautiful. Good job, Pastor. All right, and then here is the land. You recognize this shape perhaps from and then just go south, right? But here in what we would call Palestine or Israel, now don't think 1948 post-World War II Israel, just think the ancient, try to think about that in your mind, right? So here's the ocean, here's the land, Lebanon would be up here, right? Here's Israel, and here is a river that we call the Jordan, right? Here's the Sea of Galilee, Gennesaret, Sea of Tiberias. It's got multiple names in the Bible. And then down here is the Dead Sea, right? Here's waves here. Jesus walked on water up here. Jesus is baptized in the Jordan River. And then if you really like the most densely salty, mineralized water in the world, and you want to get covered in that, you can go swim in the Dead Sea. And the water is so heavy with minerals that you can literally float. You don't have to practice floating like when you're a kid up at Chain of Lakes or wherever it is that maybe down at the pool down here. What'd you call it? What's the town pool?
Burnworth.
Burnworth, yes,
yeah,
right.
Now it's not, but, yeah.
Whatever it is now, right? Wherever you learn to swim, if you learn to swim, you have to hold your breath, relax, keep
Well, where's that place that Jill said she swam in? And she
That's
said
what I'm talking about.
she said your skin feels so good afterwards.
I'll just have to trust her for that.
Solid pigment.
Yeah. Well, I've known people who've gone there to.
But she said you cannot move. I mean, you're just so buoyant.
Yes, the water's so heavy that you literally don't have to try to float. You're just floating like a log in that. But they actually have, the water's so mineralized that they actually have showers there, freshwater showers, so you can get the stuff off of because apparently after a while it feels nice to begin with.
Well, she says afterwards
so
you feel really, because it cleans you, I guess, she said, it really.
Yeah, I don't
It's like having installed a mineral bath.
Yeah.
Sure. Yes.
Sure,
Whatever that is, they have showers there. You can actually rinse the stuff off. But it's just full of probably hundreds of minerals. I don't know. But this is fresh water and this is fresh water, but somehow this is a sea of brine.
Wow.
And you can only go there during certain times of year because they actually have brine flies, a type of fly, and if you go there during the wrong time of year, there's just billions and billions of flies everywhere. So find out if you're ever going to go there, find out what month that is and don't go then. So otherwise you'll have more than just nice skin, you'll be covered with flies. So sounds lovely, doesn't it?
Yeah.
All right, so here, this would be the modern state of Jordan. Right, this is the modern state of Israel. Egypt is down here. So this is not to scale, but there is Beersheba in the south. I think I can't remember how far south it is, but it's somewhere in the south, right? It's down here, right? And then Jerusalem, I don't know, somewhere maybe right in here. I can't remember exactly. And so he's leaving Beersheba, right? And he's going to Haran. Now remember earlier, we know he's going to Padan Aram, which is part of ancient Syria. Ancient Syria, like if this is Lebanon up here, right? Syria is up this way. And Padan Aram and also Haran is up here in the north. It's part of what's called in the ancient world the Fertile Crescent. Right? If you go straight across here to head to the place where Abraham was raised, Ur of the Chaldees, or modern day Iraq or Iran, or gotta think about this. Heading over to, is it the Persian Gulf? Yes, the Persian Gulf. You would be crossing the deserts of northern Saudi Arabia and southern Iraq. So what you want to do is you want to go north and make an arc called the Fertile Crescent, like this, right? Because you have rivers, lakes, and streams all up through here, including the Tigris and Euphrates rivers, which are two major tributaries, rivers in Iraq today. Because if you just go straight across here, you're probably going to die if you don't know where the very few watering holes are at, which are wells or oasis, etc. So he's going north, he's following the Fertile Crescent, he's going to Haran, and somewhere along the journey, even as he's getting up here north a little bit, the sun is setting, he's getting tired, you've been walking all day, you can't get an Uber, right? It's so hard to get service in this place, right? Where's the Uber at? Oh no, you gotta walk and walk and walk, right? So now he comes to this certain place, it says, and he's like, I can't even get a 2-star hotel around here, so we're gonna use a stone any of you guys get creaks and cracks when you're sleeping? Imagine sleeping on the floor of the desert with a rock as your pillow. So he's
My problem would be more bugs. Yeah.
Yeah.
That and
scorpions, camel spiders. You ever seen the Iraqi camel spiders that the guys had to deal with in the Persian Gulf War One? Big as a dinner plate.
see that?
You're like,
It's
no
not
thanks.
fun, is it?
No.
No, it wouldn't be good.
No. I mean, here we have some nasty ones and we about jump out of our skin if they're the size of a 50-cent piece. But over there, they got the size of a small dinner plate. Yeah, so... yeah, that's another story for another time. All right, so now he dreams a dream, right? Before we get to that, Bethel or Bethel or Bethel, depending upon what part of the world you're from, how you're going to say it. Beth means house, or Bet in Hebrew means house, and El or El is God. So it's the house of God, and that's why Bethlehem is the house of bread, right? So there you go. All right, so now he's dreaming a dream, and he's caught up, as we talked about last week, into the third heaven, as St. Paul would describe it, where he can see into the place where God dwells, right? This other dimension, wherever it is that the third heaven is. Beyond the blue sky, first heaven, beyond the universe, second heaven, the place where God dwells, right? All right, so now he sees what? Angels ascending and descending, right? From the earth to the top of it that reached the heaven, and behold, angels of God, angels of Elohim, were ascending and descending on it, right? Now, is that exactly how the angels get up and down? There's a whole debate of it. There's some ladder, some hidden ladder. I think it's more of an image that's being...
Their steps,
Yeah. Just when you think, going to Planet Fitness was bad enough, try climbing Jacob's ladder all day.
That's a lot of steps.
Exhausting, right? All right, but notice here the most important thing is that the Lord is above the ladder, verse 13, right? And now here's the best part. He's going to speak directly to this man who's been cast off, who's on the run, whose sins have come back to haunt him, tricking his brother not just once, but twice. He's in fear for his life. He's lost his mom. He's lost his dad. He's lost being a part of the patriarch's household, which was a pretty cush job. with the servants and all the trappings and the wealth that was. But now he's on the run, right? He's wanted dead or alive, right? Yes, go ahead.
So you're kind of treating Jacob as one of a bad guy, basically. I mean, he was nasty because all that he'd done, we think of it as, okay, this is the way God wanted it, but
Yeah.
bottom line, it really wasn't.
Well, you got to remember the only good guy in the scripture is the Lord, right?
Well, yeah, but I mean,
So I mean, some are worse than others. I mean, there's consequences, as I said earlier. So in many ways, Esau is way worse than Jacob.
Yeah.
But Jacob is not exactly, his hands aren't clean,
Right.
right? No one in the Bible's hands are clean except for Christ, right? So yeah, he tricked his brother, or imagine, if you will, your brother's starving, he's been out all day hunting, and he comes back from hunting, and you've made this delicious stew, and you're like, he's like, oh, can I please have, you would just give him a bowl of stew, because he's your brother, and he's your twin, no less,
Yeah.
right? But Jacob's like, no, trade me your birthright.
Oh.
Give me your portion of the inheritance, which is the chief portion because he's firstborn. Give it to me, and then I will give you some food. So that's not exactly a good guy, right? There's issues there, as we would say, right?
his mom would help.
Yeah.
My
So
mom would say, you give him them.
yeah, mom and dad aren't around, right? So and of course Esau plays it off like this is not serious.
Yeah.
He doesn't think of the implications, he doesn't care, he's just starving, But Jacob's not exactly a hero for doing that. There's not a lot of love being shown, right? And then later at the prodding of his mother, he then robs his brother in a disguise of his older brother's final blessing, right? Again, not exactly being above board, a man of character, I would say. So now, is Esau worse? Yes. But Jacob is not exactly, it's like the lesser of two evils at this point, right? But now the real hero of the story comes in, right? The Lord, in spite of his sin and the consequences thereof, the Lord is speaking directly into his life. Why is the Lord choosing Jacob? Why did he choose Abraham? Why did he choose Isaac? Why did he choose Jacob? Why did he choose you and me? There's nothing special about me or Jacob, right? It's because of his grace and his mercy, and specifically through his lineage comes the Zerah from Genesis chapter 3, who is the seed, singular, who is going to be the second person of the Trinity in the flesh, none other than Jesus of Nazareth, right? So it's for his own name's sake and out of his loving kindness that Jacob and Jacob's lineage are included in this amazing tale. Otherwise, who else from... When would this be? Would this be about 1800, 1700 BC? No, 1900 BC? Who else do you know of in life 39 centuries ago? Who else has their name written and their story written, right? So Jacob isn't famous because Jacob conquered the earth like Alexander the Great, or he wasn't the richest king of all time like Solomon, nor was he the wisest. His story is told even here in Columbia City, Indiana, 39 centuries later, because God intervened directly in his life and included him by grace into this covenant plan, right? So now the Lord, the hero of the story, speaks, and he's like, look, I'm the God, or the Lord, the Yahweh, the Elohim of Abraham, your father, and the God of the Elohim of Isaac. Remember that name Elohim is a plural name. So all for the benefit of everyone here who wasn't here last few classes, we translate this generically into English as God, but interestingly, that I am ending is plural. So God, and yet somehow plural, right? And of course, this is an argument for the Trinity, right? In the beginning, God, made the heavens and the earth, and yet it's not, it's singular and yet plural. How can that be? Well, examples of it, this is the Trinity cloaked or hidden in the Old Testament, right? So when he says, let us make man in our image after our likeness, right? That's the plurality of the divine majesty or eternal Godhead having a conversation amongst themselves. We have one God, Hear, O Israel, the Lord thy God, the Lord is one. One in divine majesty, eternal substance, one Godhead. We don't have, as we say in the Athanasian Creed, we don't have three gods, we have one God. We don't have three lords, we have one Lord. We don't have three almighties, we have one almighty, right? So there is the mystery that God is one, right, yet having three persons. One, yet three persons, right? Let us make man in our image and after our likeness, this conversation, right? That's why when Jesus is in the Garden of Gethsemane in John chapter 17, and he's having this conversation with his Father in heaven, we hear the voice of the divine majesty when Jesus is baptized into the Jordan, right? And with this baptism from John in order to fulfill all righteousness, right? And everybody's like, what's going on here? And then all of a sudden there is the voice from heaven, this is my beloved Son with whom I am well pleased. Or at the Mount of Transfiguration, this is my beloved Son, listen to him. And Peter's like, just like I would do the same thing, because I'm an extrovert. I'm like, oh Jesus, Moses, Elijah, oh my gosh, and then God's like, shut up and listen to Jesus. Oh, okay. So I would probably have done the same thing. Nervous talking, right? All right. So here it is that he's having this dream. Angels up and down. And the Yahweh, the Elohim, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and now what? I'm your God too, right? Verse 13. And I'm going to remind you of the same thing that I told your father and your grandfather, which is the land on which you lie asleep right now, or yet having a waking dream. I will give to you and to your offspring. What do you think? You think that's singular or plural?
Plural.
Could be both.
It's both, but we'll explain here in a minute. There's the seeds plural and seeds singular, right? Well, and that's this. We'll talk about the scriptures here in a moment. Your offspring shall be like the dust of the earth, and that's a reference to Genesis chapter 2 when he makes Adam, right? Adam is literally made in the Hebrew out of the particles, as we'd say in English, of the earth, or as we translate, which sounds nicer and more poetic, the dust of the earth, right? The finest grains of substance or material of the earth, right? Your offspring will be like the dust of the earth, and you shall spread abroad to the west and the east and to the north and to the south, and in your offspring shall all the families of the earth be blessed, right? That is an earlier reference to the same covenant that is made with Abraham. How is it that the offspring, plural, will be blessed? Well, we're going to get there, right? Behold, I am with you, singular, and will keep you, singular, wherever you, singular, go. So this is a specific promise to him as an individual. And I will bring you back to this land. Why? Because I'm giving it to you and to your offspring, right? For I will not leave you until I have done what I have promised you. Well, that's even though he's out in the wilderness and there might be camel spiders and scorpions and snakes and whatever else is out there in the wilderness, right? Now suddenly it's like, oh, well, this is the best stay ever, right? Because God is with me and he's going to look out for me. And I was afraid before. My brother's trying to kill me, and I'm on the run. Like Bon Jovi, dead or alive, right?
Yeah.
He's wanted. Forget it. All right. All right. He's on the run, but now he can feel secure because God has his back, right? You ever
Okay,
been?
I have a question. He says, I will not leave you until I have done what I have promised you. Does that mean he will eventually leave him? That's kind of, I mean, that would be like,
Well, I mean, eventually Jacob's going to be leaving the land. I mean, he's going to take him to himself. He's going to die. So
but-
I wouldn't read too much into
Okay.
that. Yeah, like he's going to say see ya at some point. Yeah, because you do see the Lord is with Jacob till the end of his days, till he breathes his last.
But it
right?
kind of gives you that feeling like there's a time frame where I'll eventually have to go and you're going to be on your own.
Are you suffering from past trauma?
Yes,
We all are, right? There is that sense that we could read into that out of our human fears, like, okay, so am I supposed to say, Lord, that until I've accomplished these things, right? Well, the accomplishment of these things is all the way to the end of his life and even goes beyond his life.
I know how
because
the
it
Lord,
extends all the way to his
I know how the
offspring.
Lord is always there, and that
Yeah.
reading that makes me wonder where he
Yeah,
is.
I wouldn't read too much into that because he is with him always,
Yeah.
right? And we know that from the later scriptures that the patriarchs and the prophets are with the Lord, right? And they're with the martyrs of the church, Book of Revelation, chapter 20, chapter 21, etc. So yeah, I'll have to think about that a little bit more. Why? Let me look up the Hebrew. I don't have time right now, but I
Okay.
will look
What
it up.
verse is that?
That verse is, I am with
13.
you. 15. Behold,
15.
I am with you and will keep
Alright.
you and wherever you go and will keep you back.
Until is the word you're
Yeah.
struggling with.
Yeah.
Yeah, until I have done what I have promised you. Yeah, so here's part of the problem with the English is we're trying to find English words to convey other languages' meanings, right? And sometimes English falls short, or we don't pick maybe the best word. English has a lot of words. I mean, last time I checked, there were multiple. That's why English is so difficult for people to master.
There's so many different versions of words that mean different.
Yeah, and then you have slang and dialect and insane grammar. That's why English is probably it's easy for us because we grew up with it. But for most people they will tell you that English is much harder than their native tongue. Like Spanish has very few words compared to.
It could be referring to him being brought back to the land when he left Egypt.
Yeah, well, it could mean
He's not finished until he brings him back and buries him there.
Yeah, he even brings his bones all the way back in the future, and along with Joseph too. So, like, there's examples in Greek. I'd have to look up this Hebrew, but there's examples in Greek like we say the word if, a two-letter word. If to us means conditional, right? If this, then that. But if not this, then not that, right? So it's strictly conditional. And so when we're translating certain passages from, it's called the subjunctive mood, if we want to get really grammar specific here. The subjunctive mood in Greek can also convey future certainty. So when they're translating it from Greek to English, they often use the word if. And so as English speakers who don't know Koine Greek, I'm just reading it and it sounds conditional to me. Well, as I teach the catechism kids, if it's conditional, it's not gospel, it's law, right? A conditional contract is never good news. Now you may be excited when you go get your new cell phone, or you get your new car and you're like, I've got a new car and I've got it. And then the first bill comes and you're like, why did I do that? Often, especially with vehicles that are very expensive, I've known several young men over the years that were excited to get that brand new pickup truck with all the bells and the whistles. And nowadays it's like some of them are 80, 90, 100 plus $1,000. And then you're like, what used to be a mortgage payment even 10, 12 years ago, you're getting a $1,200, $1,500 pickup truck payment. And then the regret sets in, right?
On the gas.
Yeah, and then the maintenance and the gas and the insurance. And,
Yeah, and the first dent.
yes. So what did that have to do with? So the word if, we think conditional. That it sounds like a good deal. That's right. It sounds like a good deal. It sounds like the gospel, but really it's the law, right? But in Greek, the word if it's in the subjunctive mood, can also convey future certainty, right? Well, how do you know that? Well, you have to have a pastor that can translate the Greek and go, oh, this is in the subjunctive. So if in the English, we need to modify it a little bit as I'm teaching it to people, say, we understand it's not either or like in English, rather this is what's being said. So I will look up the word, which here we have another troublesome preposition, the word until. So does that mean there's going to be a time that I'm done with you, Jacob? I'm sick of your...
Well, it's just that feeling I have reading that. I mean, it's not saying because I know the Lord would never leave him.
Right.
But to have it written in here.
Yeah. Well, let me look it up, and we'll try to get a sense more specifically of that troublesome
It would
word.
ease my mind.
Yes, I will get back with you. I promise. So.
It can almost mean he never leaves.
Yeah. Let me look it up instead of us kind of like spending more time because we should keep moving, right? So I will look it up and I'll get back with you, right? So then Jacob awoke. Now here's a cool part, right? As I preached on Sunday, as Luther says in the comment on the fourth petition of the Lord's Prayer, give us this day our daily bread. He said, we pray that the Lord would help us to realize this, right? Instead of running away with our fears and our worries, just like perhaps Jacob has been fussing ever since he had to leave his home and he's going to, and I've got to go get this wife from these relatives and I don't know what's going to happen and oh, woe was me and the whole world is against me and why am I cursed? The human thoughts and feelings run away with us, right? Luther says, no, we pray that we would realize that as believers, God's blessings, right? If the Lord is providing for even all evil people, O you of little faith, right? Matthew chapter 6 in last week's text. Why are you so afraid about what you will eat or what you will wear or what you will drink, right? Or in this case, the loss of your family or what this future bride is going to be, right? O you of little faith. And then he says, right? Surely the Lord was in this place and I did not know it.
Epiphany.
Yes, right. Well, the Lord is with you wherever you go, right? There's no crevasse. You ever have one of those fears about going glacier climbing and they say don't step in those puddles of water because those puddles of water can be hundreds or even thousands of feet deep. And you're thinking, well, like it's a mud puddle, like in a parking lot, and I can just step in, all of a sudden, whew, down you go into the glacier.